Hello everyone, it's your boy The Last of Us Forever with 2 R's. This is my first ever video and I will be talking about theories and speculations regarding The Last of Us Part 3. Creative director, programmer, and co-president of Naughty Dog Neil Druckmann alongside co-writer Haley Gross, who wrote Westworld, just announced through several reports and websites that The Last of Us Part 3's story outline is done. There is a script with a plot twist now present within Naughty Dog's HQ. How do you think Naughty Dog will tackle this theme of the world of The Last of Us after Part 2's ending? Now, to recap, the only main characters that we know of are still alive are Maria, Tommy, Dina, Ellie, Lev, Abby, and Bill from Part 1. Of course, new characters will appear in Part 3 with new cast members, including new potential cults and tribes, such as the Hunters and Fedra in Part 1, Seraphites and WLF from Part 2, including the Rattlers that showed up during Part 2's epilogue. Now, with the main focus being taken away from the bond between Joel and Ellie from Part 1, the plot that would show up in Part 2 would mainly revolve around the Infected and the Fireflies, since we last discovered that they are still going on and they're expanding their facilities on Catalina Island. With the new recruits Abby and Lev, the game would most inevitably show us how the Fireflies are managing. And of course, the search for the infected cure carries on. This is where Ellie's role comes to play, since as Marlene said previously in Part 1, the Fireflies needed her to reverse engineer a vaccine. Thus, Abby would lead a team of Fireflies to track Ellie down to use her blood, tissues, or whatever they need to engineer a vaccine. Most probably, Ellie would have returned to Jackson to reunite with JJ, Dina, Maria, and Tommy, who are the only family she got left. Given Tommy's injured state and him being on break with Maria, a lot of drama would be going on, including Dina and Ellie's disrupted bond after their breakup in Part 2's epilogue. Meanwhile, back in the Firefly base, maybe we would find any reference to Ellie's mother, Anna, who was a nurse for the Fireflies, even find out who Ellie's dad was. Also, after Marlene's death, who's the new leader of the Fireflies? Not to mention, we would see how Lev would grow up and look like, since he has full freedom in comparison to his past life as a Seraphite. Furthermore, given the fact that more time has passed by since the beginning of the pandemic, thus the infected form would have evolved, since this means more types of infected would appear, just as the Shamblers and the Rat King in Part 2 appeared. Moreover, within the Firefly base, maybe we could see some sort of reference to Tommy and Eugene when they were back as Fireflies in the past, such as old files, Firefly pendants, or even pictures found in some of their offices. Not to mention, Naughty Dog focuses a lot on time travels in their games, mainly in flashbacks, so we would be able to see Joel and Ellie's flashbacks, Yara and Lev's flashbacks, Owen, Jerry, Mel, Nora, Manny, or even Isaac and Abby's flashbacks, since most probably Ellie, Abby, and Lev would be the only playable characters. Maybe we'll be able to control Tommy and Dina. Who knows? Naughty Dog always has surprises to an additional playable character, since they lied about Joel being the only playable character in Part 1, where we controlled both Sarah and Ellie. And they lied about Ellie being the only playable character in Part 2, where we ended up controlling both Joel and Abby. Although Part 3 would focus on the new cast members, I bet previous characters would be referenced, and maybe Bill could show an appearance, since he's one of the only remaining characters who are alive. Besides, Tess, Sarah, Joel, Manny, Marlene, Henry, Sam, Mel, Nora, Jesse, and Yara were all dead. Given the events that happened in Part 1 and Part 2, I think Part 3 will be the ending to the trilogy, with either the cure being developed with the result of Ellie's sacrifice, or some sort of vaccine initiated with Ellie's survival, since of course she has a family to take care of, after she laid down Joel's memory with the loss of her fingers, forbidding her from playing guitar, which was her last memory of Joel, which represents her father figure. Note that even if a vaccine/cure was developed, The story would expand from there with the presence of a lot of cults and tribes that would want to get their hands on the vaccine first. Or even the immersion of a lot of divisiveness on who controls the cure's delivery. Like I said, The Last of Us Part 3 would focus more on the world of The Last of Us, Fireflies, Infected, and the cure more than it would focus on Jackson, Joel and Ellie, or even the drama wrapped up between Abby and Lev, or around Abby and Lev. Not to mention even Tommy's ongoing revenge for Abby killing his brother and injuring him. Also, Lev crippling him after shooting him with a bow to his knee. And don't forget that we last saw Tommy, he still hasn't had peace with the events that occurred in part 2, unlike Ellie did. To wrap up, part 3 would show us how the world of The Last of Us is on a wide scale, not only focusing on certain characters or certain tribes. Sure, we would see flashbacks of characters who passed away, but there is a whole lot more to what we didn't see or know hidden deep in the lands of The Last of Us. Until then, I'm your boy The Last of Us Forever with 2 R's. Follow me on social media, Instagram and Twitch, and see you on the next one. Peace.